Hello and a big welcome to Leaps and Hounds with me, Charlotte Hawkins. This is our very first episode called Barking Bad with Crackle, the Belgian Shepherd. Now, I've come along to the Dogs Trust Rehoming Centre here in West London. They do a brilliant job looking after dogs, and I've been a supporter of theirs for many years. Now, they're seeing a record number of dogs being given up at the moment, and a big reason is because of unwanted behaviours, whether it's barking, whether it's jumping up, whether it's aggression. And today it's barking that we're going to be talking about with Crackle. We are here to help. Whatever behaviour issues you've got with your dog, we're going to be giving you bite-sized guides to make sure that you've got the right advice to hand. And here to hand to help me is expert Kris Glover, who is Head of Clinical Behaviour Services at the Dogs Trust. She is fluent in dog. And we're going to introduce you to Crackle, the Belgian Shepherd, or Malinois. And Roy, his handler, is here with us as well. Hello to you.
Hello.
What a beautiful boy Crackle is. You're keeping distracted at the moment. So tell me about Crackle's story.
Yeah, so Crackle was originally with us when he was much younger, little puppy. He's just over 6 months now. Sadly, he was returned to us for his... I would like to say his breed, essentially. Quite a busy boy. He needs a lot of mental stimulation.
They're high energy, aren't they?
Absolutely. There's a lot we can do there with that energy, and a lot of fun games. But he also does quite a bit of barking as well when he's quite excitable, and lots of novel stimuli. So unfortunately, he did get returned to us, but we are looking for a new home that's kind of able to offer that kind of...
So when you look at why he barks then, it's sort of different situations that sets him off?
Yeah, I mean, he's quite young, and, you know, growing up in kennels, we are aware of that. So we're offering him a lot of different learning experiences, such as new environments, new kind of ways to play, and kind of what really motivates him to learn from as well, and socialising him with dogs and other people, really.
Oh, well, listen, he's been beautifully quiet at the moment, despite the fact that we brought him here to demonstrate his barking. But you may well be able to hear some of the other dogs joining in the conversation, because they like to have their voices heard. Roy, thank you very much. I will leave you to go and keep Crackle busy, because that's what he likes to do, lots of different things going on. Kris, how many dogs like Crackle end up here because either their owners or maybe it's the neighbours just get sick of maybe constant barking the whole time? So
I do think that barking is a behaviour problem that is quite constantly reported by our adopters and owners of dogs. But if we want to actually help a dog reduce their behaviour, what we need to do is understand the reason behind it. So there are 3 distinct emotional states that we typically find that will have a dog bark or cause a dog to bark. One of them is a dog that is a bit worried about a situation and will do a woof or a bark in order to move that person away. And that is a bark that tends to be lower pitched. I can describe it.
I was going to say, you are fluent in dog.
I would try.
Would you like to give us a demonstration of what that sounds like?
Definitely. So it would be a woof, 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 woof. So it'd be a lower pitch. It tends to be fairly sort of repeated. It might be warning off somebody, so trying to get somebody to move away from them, but also it might be a request for us to come and attend. So if we hear our dog barking like that, what we might do is go and see what they're barking at. And then the dog then becomes more comfortable because we're next to them, so we're keeping them safe.
What about the other types of bark then?
So then we've also got our attention-seeking bark, which is a request for attention from us. So it's just to get us to pay them attention, or for us to do something that will help them to feel better about a situation. So an attention-seeking bark is usually interrupted. So it would be a woof, 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 or it could be lower if you've got a slightly bigger dog. The importance with any bark is that we need to know that there's individual differences. So what might be a fearful bark for one dog may not be a fearful bark for another. And then the third one is we've got our frustrated bark, and that tends to be a higher pitched bark. It tends to be quite an insistent bark. So again, I will try to describe it. It's a so it sounds a little bit more excited, a little bit more excitement induced.
So you need to kind of understand, in a sense, what your dog is saying to you to be able to understand its bark then. Speak the language of dog when it's barking to help you understand it.
Absolutely, and I think the key there is to be able to see what your dog is doing at the time when they're barking, which sometimes isn't possible because we experience dogs that bark when we're not present. So if we can get video footage to look at what our dogs are doing when they're actually barking, that will help describe. I had a little dog that was a terrier that would do alarm barking, so the low-pitched barking that would normally indicate that there's something or somebody around that my dog wasn't comfortable with, in order to just get me to go and check what was going on. As soon
clever.
Absolutely. So as soon as I went into our lounge space, sat down, he'd go, "Oh, excellent, you're here. I'm going to sit on your lap now." So situations like that, if I didn't understand that actually he was doing it because he learnt that when he barked in that way, I actually went over to him, that then became a sort of rewarded behaviour for him. But usually that sort of alarm barking means that we've got a dog that is worried about something.
Okay, so understanding what the barking means is obviously key in this situation, but you might like the fact that your dog barks sometimes. For example, security, people like the fact that they know that their dog will bark if they're suspicious about something. But how can you limit barking?
So what we absolutely want to do is, again, control the environment. So if we have got a dog that will typically bark because they see the cat on the shed next door, let's shut the curtains or remove our dog from the room so they don't see the thing that is causing them to bark. Again, if we've got dogs that are quite worried about people that are walking past our house regularly, what we can do is sit down with our dogs, and every time they spot the person walk past, we can give them a piece of food, we can play with them, just to start to associate that person with really nice stuff. So it's nothing that they need to be worried about. Every time they see something that might worry them, they get nice reward from us, and they're kept safe as well.
And also, I guess, keeping them well exercised so they're not inside all frustrated the whole time.
Definitely. I'm not saying that bored dogs will bark, but they are more likely. So dogs that have got a surplus of energy are more likely to be looking or listening for things that perhaps they wouldn't have done if they were well exercised.
And do you think people should be aware of certain breeds are going to bark more than others if you're choosing a dog, for example?
Indeed. So a case that I saw many years ago, a behaviour case I saw, which was a terrier that I would say probably had a moderate level of barking, so wasn't excessively barking to any degree. The lady was really quite concerned that the dog was an excessive barker, and actually previously she had owned very quiet greyhounds. So actually just the difference between the two breeds for her meant that we had a terrier that she decided she depicted as being quite obsessive in barking, but actually it was probably quite a usual barking sort of level for the average terrier.
Kris, thank you so much. All very useful. And can I just say your dog impressions are absolutely top notch. That's explained it all very clearly for us. So just to sum up when it comes to barking in that case, accept the fact that some dogs are going to be chattier than others, but understanding why your dog barks is a really crucial one. Resolve or remove that trigger if you can, or teach them an alternative. So that's it. Thank you so much for joining us. Make sure you join us for the next episode, which is Jumping Up with Perry the Trail Hound. I'll see you then.
For more help with your dog, go to the Dogs Trust website. There's an advice page and a behaviour support line. And on the rehoming page, there are some of the 700 dogs looking for their forever homes. You can also find out more about Crackle the dog, who featured in this episode. If you like what you've heard so far, please share with a friend and leave a review. Thank you. Leaps and Hounds is hosted by me, Charlotte Hawkins. The producer is Georgie Nell, and our technical director is Milton Boyne. It's recorded at the Dogs Trust in West London for Nell Media.